I want to ask one thing that the extension of file dot yml
Yes.
in IntelliJ it's dot yml, in Eclipse there is yaml.
No, no, no. So both are same only. So it's has nothing to do with IntelliJ or Eclipse. So if you see, right, if you see any such queries, try to see what is the full form. So YML means markup language. So it's like yet markup language, and YAML means yet another markup language. So YML is yet another markup language. YAML is yet another markup language. So it's just that the properties evaluated to YMLs and then YMLs to YAML. Okay, so there's no difference. If you see the content, it will be in the same format. Okay, so either of like properties, YAML, YML, everything will work. And it in YAML and YML, you will rarely see any difference. So you can use any of them. Everything will work in the same manner.
Okay, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, and you are able to see my screen, and is my voice any disturbance is there?
No, sir.
Yes. No, sir. No.
Okay,
Screen is clearly visible.
right. Okay. So first of all, right, before we start anything and I start explaining anything, you will like after the session ends, you will say, okay, I got the concept, but how do I start? Okay. So for that sake, the first thing that we will see is how to start. Okay. Now it's not only for Camunda, it's for any kind of platform that we want to start with. The application developers themselves will provide something to start with. Okay, so let me just do, you're able to see my incognito, the Chrome browser?
No, sir.
No.
No, no.
No, sir.
Okay, one second, let me stop sharing and share screen. So I'm sharing my complete monitor. Okay. Oh, my bad. Stop share. Now you can see there's some PPT.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I think I was sharing something else. Yeah, and now you can see incognito, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So what we will do first is, so before starting, we are trying to learn Camunda, and if we want to do Camunda in Spring Boot, we'll simply ask, hey Camunda, just give me this Spring Boot initializer. We call it as initializers. Okay. So what you will do is, you can see the first link. Okay, startcamunda.com. So if you open this, and you'll get some properties. Okay, we'll talk about those properties in some coming minutes, in a moment or after some time within this session only. But after selecting that, you just need to click on generate project. That's it. And what is the output of that? The output of that is this complete project, this thing that you are seeing, right? This so this is something we call it as boilerplate code. So morning we have seen something called as business logic, and then we have talked that business logic is something that we write for achieving our objective, but the platform will provide us everything that is required to run our business logic. So the that kind of code is known as boilerplate code. For example, you write single application, you write a big application, in everything there will be a public static void main, correct? So this thing is the entry point of the application. So I can say this is there in every application, so this is common. So the term used to refer to such kind of code is known as boilerplate code. Even when you are writing even a small HTML, there will be a body, header, something of that sort. So those kind of things which is like required to start, or something which is common to all, we call it as boilerplate code. Okay, now this you don't need to do anything. This complete thing you will get once you download this. Now which options we need to select, whether I should select security, web, which version and all, we will try to understand each and option once we like actually start using it. So I'm putting this options on hold for now, and let's assume that we have this project. Okay, and this controller delegate everything, this we will create, but just to start the Camunda, what all dependencies or what all libraries it is required, that we will get here. Okay, so now we have Spring Boot ready. We don't need anything else. Just start this and we are good. Okay. So if you can see, when we are starting, it is asking for username and password. So this is something we can give. So what I gave just for the demonstration is admin is you, password is also you. That's it. Okay. Now when I generate this project and I see that username and password are what, if you have, like, if you remember from the previous session, such kind of things are called configurations. So if I go to resource, why I'm going to resource, because anything except Java will be there in our resource. So I hope everything that we are going to discuss now, you will be able to get it because of the previous session. Okay. Now if I go to application.yaml, you can see the username and password is defined here. So this is something generated for us, so that we don't, because everyone will have a username and password, everyone will have a configuration file, so such kind of thing is generated by default. So any doubt in here, like how to get this code, the boilerplate code on which we are going to start the Camunda? Any query so far?
No, sir.
Okay, excellent.
Sir, hello sir. Can you
Yeah,
make another one file so we can?
sorry,
Can you make another file?
another file.
After generating, sir.
Sure. Okay, yeah. So you want me to download this, is it? uh who was that? Sorry, you want me to download this project again, or you want me to just create a class and make use of this in the workflow?
Hitesh,
Sir, generate the project, sir.
uh
That your option for initialize the sir.
okay, let's, okay, you are asking for me to download this, right? Is that
Yes,
what?
sir. Yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
okay. So we'll simply click on generate project. And so before that, you can see as of now I selected on disk. Okay, so this option is very crucial, that's why I'm focusing more on this. So let's suppose I selected on this, so I'll click on generate project. So once that is done, let me choose something, C point, let's say, yeah, okay, this I can choose. Okay, so once this is downloaded, show in folder, and I'll simply extract this. Secure zip extract to this. Okay, now I see this is extracted. Now in this is the project that is generated. Now if I open this, what will happen, this my project is what, this is the name of the folder, this is not the project name. So I will open this from IntelliJ, and then you will again be able to correlate. So let me open that file, open, and I'll go to this C point, and I'll open my project. Yeah, this was our project, right? So what you will open is, like I said in morning, what is pom.xml? It is like a summary of the application. It has all the details like application name, the metadata, the group name, the libraries, the plugin, and everything. So I'll simply open that, and I'll say open as project. So I want to like replace this, or I want to open a new window, so I'll say open a new window. So this is what started, and this pom.xml is having everything, right? So if you can see at the bottom, the Maven is trying to get all the required things from its repository. Okay, so because this is a community version, which is an open source version of IntelliJ, so it is a bit slow, but if we have license version, it will be happening quickly. Okay, so let me open this my project, this, so you can see everything is provided to us. I am not doing anything. Okay, so I think you did this, that's why YAML you were asking. So it is yet another markup language,
Yes,
nothing else.
sir. Yes, yes.
Okay, so if I open this, you can see this is the password, like whatever we give in the option. Okay, now let me just open the application, and like we don't have anything to start here, and we can go to add configuration, and we can do the stuff, but that is a lengthy process. So because it is the first time, we are not getting anything here, so I'll simply say just start from here. So you can see I don't want to debug, or I don't, okay, other options I can explain you when the time comes, but for now this is what we want to do. We just want to run it. Okay, so I started it. We'll wait for a minute. Okay, you see build is happening. So these terminologies you will get here, what is build, what is all these things we will talk, but you can see build is nothing but one of the you will see here. So when we are doing clean and we are doing install, the build is happen, but by default, yeah, this is, so I can see that when I started, the build is happened and target is generated. So target, you know, right, what is the content of the target. So this is the Java file. So in target we'll have class files and all the data that is required. So coming to configuration, do we have any port mentioned here? No, right? So we'll have a default port on which this is running on. So I can see, okay, like usually this is for demonstration, I am using this much font. So if I want to see the logs this much, no one will scroll. So when you are developing, maybe you can minimize the log so that it's like the more we have on screen, the more we will be able to grasp at one point of time. Okay, it's maybe depend on each person. So I can see that by default the port is 8080 and it is running on 80. So I don't need anything else. So I can simply clear everything, like it is running. You can see, right, it is running, and I just clear the logs. I didn't do anything else. Let me just minimize this, minimize everything, and just go to the browser, localhost 8080. So we did not write even a single line of code so far. Let me just close this. And if I, what was my username? You, and password was you.
You.
Login. That's it. Yeah. Begin. No, this is fine. Okay, now this is something which is completely generated from us. Now you can see, you can ask one thing. Hey, this is like this is the boilerplate code and I don't see any code here. Then how that UI is coming? Like UI is made up of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and those files are not Java, so it should be part of the resources. Now I don't see any file also. Then how it is working? So I can say that the UI is made by someone and they also generated the target. And now if suppose you are writing some business logic and you want to share it to someone else so that other people can use your application as a library, what you will share? The morning I showed you, right? So if let me stop this once again and let me do clean install and click on play.
Sir, I had a doubt.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the war file is created here over here.
Which file?
So in Eclipse we had the war file which was created when we used to run a Maven install. So that used to be created.
Uh, uh, I'm not getting which file are you saying? WARD. Can you spell it?
Yes,
WAR. WAR.
WA.
Var file. Got it. Got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
var file. So you can
Yeah.
see now there is something called jar file generated here. Similarly, for Eclipse, you got the var file. So what are all these things? Var, jar, pom, packaging. What are all these things? So let's check in the pom.xml. That's a good question, and you just pointed out in the correct time. So what is happening here is, okay, let's not divert. So let's talk about this. Okay, so morning we open the command prompt and then we executed what we executed, a class file, java space the class file name. So that is how we generate, we run a single file application. But if I want to run a project, okay, what I will do? So running a project means running this file, nothing else. Now this file can be a jar, this file can be a var. Okay, now if you like if you research a bit more, just like if I open a class file, I will find a bytecode, correct? Similarly, if I open a jar file or a var file, which is a bundle of my application. So basically what jar or var will contain it will contain all the libraries that this application is using plus any logic that I am writing. So it is basically creating one more library. Uh, is this clear? So jar is nothing but one more library which contains what, which contains all the dependencies or libraries that I have used plus the business logic that I'm going to write. So bundling all of them into a single file is called jar.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, it is just like this. So you can see we downloaded what, uh, we downloaded zip file and we extracted it, we got the content. Similar to that, we'll have jar and var in which we'll have the business logic and all the dependencies. So whenever we'll try to extract it, right, inside that also we will get these classes. Now including libraries means what? Okay, so one of the class that you will find in the this is application.class. Now what are the other classes that you will find? The other classes belongs to, like suppose we have this library, so there are thousands and lakhs of classes in this, so that will be there present in this. Now if I scroll down, I have one more dependency. Let's say this is one more dependency, so this is made up of thousand other classes, so that will be part of this. Now when I'm opening localhost 8085, now I'm seeing HTML, JavaScript, everything is running, so that will be a part of one of these libraries. Again, that will be present in this jar. So basically I can simply say java hyphen there is some option to execute the jar file and the name of the file, that's it. So that's how we can run it. So when I'm clicking on this play button, internally what it is doing, it is basically executing this jar file only. Okay, it's just that to avoid me to write the commands and like to find the location where is it, basically this framework is doing what, it has a fixed guidelines, standard guidelines, that I will generate a target in the main project. Okay, and when I'm going to execute the command internally, I'm going to run that java command on this. Okay, so I hope this is clear so far. So that is how we are able to see all the UI and everything on the screen. Okay, yeah, there we go. So let's spend some time on it, and before moving ahead about the interface and the functioning incidents and tickets, we'll talk about that. So before that, any queries so far? 8080. Okay, so that means I can assume that we have no doubts. Okay, so I don't need this. And yeah, coming to this. So let's spend 1 minute on each of them. Okay, so admin panel, this has nothing to do with what we deploy and everything. So admin panel is like restricted to providing accesses, revoking accesses, creating groups. Now what is the use of group, that we will look in the workflow. What is the user? So user, I hope it is literally making sense. If I want to use it, I should be a part of this application. So being a part of this application means I should be available as an user. And then based on user, to which group I am assigned to, or which permission is assigned to me, or which permissions are assigned to group. So based on that, I will be able to see different parts of the UI. Okay, so I hope that has nothing, no other complexity and anything. Okay, now we have something called system, and about this matrix and monitoring, I think that is a different topic altogether, so let's not touch the system part. I think users, now you got to okay, I am able to see the application because I am the admin, but if you want to see, you should be part of the application, so you should be the user. Similarly, authorizations, it means managing the permissions and all. So maybe we can create one user and we'll go in deep about the permissions, but okay, now let's put a hold on that for some time. Now groups is also making sense. Now what is tenant? So this is something which I think you will be hearing for the in like not very frequently, so that's something we'll focus. So tenant is what, suppose you are developing some workflow. Okay, so okay, this is the first point. Do you know what is Camunda? Like what do we use Camunda for? Okay, fine, no issue. So it's the answer of that silence is, I'm assuming that you will have at least a surface level of idea. Okay, so tenant. So when you're developing a workflow, right, you will be developing this workflow not only for one client. Okay, it's like if you develop a workflow to achieve some objective, that objective will be required by company one, that always objective is also required by company two. So it's not like you are going to develop the workflow again and again for different companies or different clients, correct? So what you will do is, you will you will create a workflow, and as per the requirement of the client or the company, you will do small changes, and then you will share that okay, with this workflow you can achieve your objective. And then the third client comes, that he wants to achieve the same objective with a slight different task, so we will do the small tweakings and you will share them. But how you will, as an admin, how you will manage three clients at the same time for the same workflow? So that's where comes tenants. So tenants means clients. If in our regular life, what we call is, if I am staying on rent at some place, right? So I'll be called as tenant. Similar to that, I will call each client as my one of the tenants. So I will create a workflow and to avoid conflict, just like why do we use packages to avoid naming conflicts. Similarly, I'll create a workflow and I'll assign that, okay, this is workflow is for this tenant. So the similar workflow I can use for other tenant, and that's how I can segregate workflow based on tenant so that there is no confusion. Like even if I'm creating a database, one client should not access the database of the other. So basically, I'm differentiating two clients who are using the same workflow based on tenants. Even if you didn't get this point, I hope that is fine for now, because when we'll be doing the workflow executions and all, I think at that time it will be clear. So at the surface level, only about the this thing, the admin panel. Do you have any queries? Only about the admin. Remaining two we'll talk in a minute.
No, sir.
Okay, excellent. So here we go. And next is task list. Okay, so before this, I think cockpit will be more crucial. So let me close this and let me open cockpit. And here we go. So cockpit, now what is, okay, so here basically we'll see what all the different definitions are deployed, what are the rules that are deployed, what are the different case definitions that are deployed, and what are the deployments. So if you don't know any of them, that's fine, we'll cover that in a moment. So here what is happening inside the application, that we will see. Okay, now if I want to make a Tarun or Tanmay, if I want to say Tanmay, I want you to manage one of my client. So what as a what as an admin, what I want to show Tanmay is all this process or all this dashboard of one client. Okay, so I will do that modification in the permissions of Tanmay's authorization. So there I will say that only this client or this tenant ID should be visible. Okay, so basically this is a dashboard where I will be seeing what all things are running, what is incident, what is human task, what is this running process instances, these all things. Let's execute a workflow, then we'll talk about it. Okay, so that even you will be able to correlate. And coming to the final panel, task list, it will simply shows what all tasks are pending and to whom. Now, because I am an admin, I'll be able to see the task of Tanmay, Ria, Hemant, and everyone. But if you are normal user, you will be seeing only task which is assigned to you. Okay. Now, let's talk about how to create a workflow and we'll deploy it. And then we'll talk about each of these terminologies again, because at that time we will be able to understand what is happening. Now, before developing a diagram or workflow, there is one more thing. We did not deploy anything. Then how come we can see that there is one process definition already called my project process, and it has some diagram already built in, say hello to you, right? So this is something that we have not built, and I see that this is not there by default. It was been deployed by someone, and if I see in deployment, this is there, right? So this is deployed. So this I can see name Spring Auto Deployment. So how it is deployed? So there we go. Let's open our project called my project. Let's clear everything. We don't need the logs as of now. So here if you see, anything except .java file will be present where? It will be present in resources. So I can see that process BPM and something, some file is there which is not Java. So basically the point here is the Camunda is created in such a way that if I want that these workflows or these things should be deployed whenever the process starts, I can put those kind of workflows here under the resources. Okay, I hope this makes sense that why this got deployed. Okay, yeah. So let's
The,
about, yeah, go ahead.
the process got deployed because there was already a BPMN file which got executed when the project was executed. That's the reason why it's there, right? In the deployment.
Correct, correct. So it will deploy all the files that, it's not with all the JavaScript or HTML or CS. No, not like that. So who is telling that if there is any file that is present under the resources, application has to be deployed? Who is telling that? so that if I can see, I have some dependencies which is showing me the UI part, which is executing some logic of Camunda. Similarly, there is some instructions which are part of that dependencies that tells them that if there is any BPMN, DMN or CMMN under the resources, please deploy that. Okay, so these are the some instructions that are getting into the application as part of the dependencies. Okay, so you see there is some instructions which we cannot see, but it is happening. That's why when you are downloading something or executing anything in the system or importing something in your project, just make sure that you know the source and everything is legal and it is secure. So those kind of things is required, because here we see this is got deployed, but I did not give instruction. So that instruction came as a part of some library or import that I have done. Okay, so what you said is correct. Because of this file, it got deployed. Okay, now let's coming back to the point about these three things. I hope so far it's clear. And if you have any queries, please you can stop me at any point of time. Yeah, now we can say that, let's say Camunda download. Okay, I mean modeler. I hope you are already having this, but if not, that's fine, you can download this. Okay, so what I am using is in this open source. If I open my modeler, if you go to help, you can see which version you are using. Okay, so I am using 4.4.0. so I don't know when I was downloading, so it's usually 4.5.0 is the latest one, but I am using 4.4.0. It's fine, you can use it, but it's okay. Before talking about version, that's a different topic. Let's stick to the flow. So I am demonstrating this in 4.4.0. so on the surface level, any queries in this so far? Okay, I hope the answer is no queries. Okay, so how does the process start? So now we are going to spend some time on understanding how we are going to create this flow. So if you already know something, then you can stop me and you can say that this concept we already know. Otherwise, then I can jump to some other concept. So here we go. So this is a called start event. So we can just drag and drop it from here, and we can, like, if you want something, we can drag and drop from here, or otherwise we can simply click on this and we can simply say, okay, this is something that I want. I can do in this manner also. So either drag and drop or either click on that and you will get it. Okay, now the next thing is, whenever you are clicking on something, okay, this is like I clicked on plain area. I hope you are able to see my cursor, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, so here we go. So when I'm clicking on something, wherever I click, everything will have some or the other properties. Okay, so what will I do? I'll try to see what is the property. So I can see some ID, some name, something is there. I don't know what it is, but something is there. Now this is the properties of what? This is the properties of workflow. Why I'm saying this is the properties of workflow? Because I'm clicking on the plain area. That's why. But if I click on some component, you can see properties is changed. Now when you see on the panel, you can say that these are the properties of component, and component is changing, so properties are also changing. Now when I click on this, I can say these are the properties of component, but when I click on the plain area, I'll get the properties of the workflow. Okay, now here is the thing. If, be it a component, be it a workflow, ID is something which is used to refer internally within the application. Okay, and name is something which is something which we can see on the screen. I hope now you know that the difference between ID and name. Okay, so okay, yeah, before doing this thing, so why do we have, okay, yeah, okay, let's deploy one thing and then we can